Well, hello guys, welcome back. With not much happening this weather over lockdown, going to do a wee bit of maintenance to the car here, the Ellie's wee car. It's been out running a couple of times up around the waterfall. You might have seen it in the past couple of videos, and I have noticed there's a few bits and pieces loose, so just have to go over it and see if I can see what's what. I was also told about checking the portals for grease, so need to do that. And you'll also maybe see in the background this Axial Gladiator of my wife's. Bought it for Christmas, but she hasn't used it yet, so we're hoping to maybe get out with that soon, so that'll be another video in the future. And I have a few bits and pieces on the bench here for Ellie's Techno buggy. We're still waiting on an ESC to come. We'll have a new receiver for it to go in, one with no antenna, and we'll have alloy servo horn to go on. So I'm just waiting on the ESC. When it comes back, we'll get it fitted, hopefully get it up and running, and we'll do a wee video on painting the shell. I don't know if you can see, but it seems a bit loose and where the links go, and also a few screws here loose. So that's the importance of going over your rigs after every time they've been out. I've never taken these portals out before, but it appears to be just 4 Allen keys. Okay, so I'm glad I've taken these out. As you can see, there's quite a bit of rust in there. Very little grease. I think we'll give that a bit of a clean. Add a bit of grease in it. I was quite surprised after one lighting just how much water, dirt, rust is actually inside that housing. So give it a good clean, good grease, and just have to make sure and keep on top of that. Right, how about that for a retro tin oxo cubes? Don't see one of those every day, eh? What I'm going to do here is use just a wee scalpel to poke out the rubber seals in the bearings, give them a bit of a clean with some thinners or brake cleaner, and then just use some, probably a bit heavy people would say, but just some standard multi-purpose grease. And the reason I'm going to use some of the heavier stuff is I'm not worried too much about speed. I'm more worried about these things being submerged underwater, so hoping to try and get as long as I can out of these bearings. So that's what I'm going to do here. You guys will have seen from the last video that this truck was totally submerged, so this will be the first I've opened up the receiver box to see if there's any water in it. Surprisingly dry. I might, before the next outing, do my usual wee trick and put the receiver inside a balloon or a rubber glove or something, just to give it a bit more protection. Should any water get in there, it'll not do any damage. And as always, never tighten anything fully up. With the speed gun or the drills or impact drivers, I always like to do it with the hex drivers by hand, just to make sure nothing's stripped out. And after all, it is only plastic you're screwing into. The front seems slightly different than the rears, given that you have steering, so you have like a universal knuckle on the front shaft. So I'm going to take this whole C hub off here to get the bearing out of the shaft, just to do the job right. I would eventually like to change the portal covers and C hubs here the brass to add even more weight to the front of it to give it a better performance. This should hopefully just pop straight off. That lets us get this top bearing out. Another bearing in there. Just have to do the heap. That wee bearing's actually totally seized, but I'm sure we'll get it freed up. That's it, nice and free again now. Just a wee bit of rust. Any of you guys out there running in water, I would say this is a must do. Another thing I'd recommend is if you have a wife at all, get her to bring you cups of coffee. You can see the back of this bearing in this C-hub, so you just give it a wee gentle persuasion from the back side. That should be it out. It feels okay, but it does feel dry. I think I'll just pack every single one of these with grease, and hopefully we're done with it for a while. I'm not sure if any of you guys are running in dusty areas, if I'd be packing them with grease, because it could act like a grinding paste and make matters worse for you. But certainly over here where we run them, you'll see my videos anyway for the next few months. It'll be extremely wet, so anything and anywhere I can get grease now that I know that you can get in there, I'll be packing it out. Got it packed in there good and tight. There is a tool you can get that actually forces the grease from one side right out the other, and you know you've got it the whole way around it, but I think for what I'm doing this is pretty good. That's that one done. Feels lovely. Seals back in, bearing back in place. Looks rusty, that one, but actually feels dead free. That one's packed, seals back in. Any of you guys any better ideas of how to do these or what to do, let me know. One of the modifications I'd like to do to this is overdrive to the front, so it changes the size of the gears. Hopefully the next time you see work being done on this car, it'll not be me, it'll be Ellie. She's actually walked in beside me here, shuffling about in the background. She's possibly going to make me a coffee, seeing as I fix her car. She's celebrating the day. She's just found out she's no GCSEs to do. Just the one, please. Do us a favour, else. Stick on the microwave.
Cool.
It's like, did you boil the kettle?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I'm surprised it melted the coffee.
You said the kettle's boiled?
I said I said I boiled the kettle for Mommy to make me coffee, and she never did.
Oh, well, I wouldn't meant it. I was wondering why the heat thing on the cup wasn't showing.
Took a mouthful and you're spat it out again.
I just put the coffee in the cup and gave it to you.
Yeah, I figured. And that, folks, is the third corner done. I don't think I'll do the fourth one. It's getting kind of late, and I have to get up early in the morning for work. So we shall do this corner tomorrow. We're on the coffee tonight in the old Space Invaders mug, and I think that'll do us. Work early in the morning, do the front right one tomorrow, and maybe pull a wee bit more apart tomorrow. Have a look at the gearbox. Maybe put a balloon or rubber glove or something around the receivers. We'll check a few other things, grease the drive shafts. Have another look round, make sure everything's hunky-dory. And ready for the next time we get out. Night night, folks. Okay, so after going through the bearings on the portal axles and the gearbox and whatnot, it become apparent that driving through excessive water with these things really isn't good for the bearings at all. Pretty much most of the bearings in the gearbox were seized, not in a bad way. I was able to free them all up, pack them full of grease. Hopefully that'll keep it good for another while, but I'm pretty aware that I have missed a couple of bearings in here, the pumpkins, so it will mean I'm going to have to take some stuff apart again to get at, but seeing as I have every other bearing greased, it would be stupid of me not to take front and rear axles out and pull the pumpkin caps off and do the bearings in there. That way everything's done. Then we can go out later on and take it out for a spin, hopefully avoiding water this time. But what I do plan to take out is, you might see in the background over here is my wife's SCX 10.3 Axial out for its first spin. I haven't managed to get her outside with it yet, but with a bit of luck we'll get her out later on and see how it performs. It is totally standard at the minute, but we will be adding a few modified bits and pieces. So we'll start off as usual with wheel weights, and then we'll take it from there and we'll see how it performs. But that'll be for another video, but stay tuned and we'll get this we'll get these axles pulled apart and get these last bearings greased and hopefully get out for a bit of a spin later on. Pity I hadn't realised that they were in there whenever I had this all stripped out, but such is life. As I said, I'm not one for reading manuals, and must just be a man thing, don't you know? But it cost myself probably a wee bit more time, but sure, such is life, innit? There's a few hairs stuck everywhere with our main man Harvey, the golden retriever. His hairs just get absolutely everywhere. I'm absolutely plastered. Car's plastered, table's plastered, everywhere's plastered room. And not sure what's involved in taking these out, but hopefully not be too bad. I don't imagine it will be. A few Allen keys, I would say. Maybe even just be able to swing it out. I think maybe take these for the 4-link suspension, the bottom links and the shocks appears to be a bolt goes right through. If I take that out, might be able to swing this round, and then I can pull the port lanes off, slide out the half shafts, and a couple of screws here and the inner pumpkin. Hopefully will let me get out the bearings in here. That's my thought on it anyway, but we'll take a few more screws out here and see how we get on. Yeah, well, let's just get there okay. Screw this out. There's one of the bearings in there. And I'll have a look and see what's in here. I suppose I should use my wee speed grinder. I'm going to remember where I've left it. Not quite sure what we're going to see in here, but we'll find out very shortly. Yeah, those bearings are wet, so definitely. I don't know if you can see the moisture in there, but I'm glad I've taken them apart. Give that a dry out and drop of grease. Guys, if you're out there and you're running through water, damp conditions, definitely recommend spending an evening going through. And the fact that there's literally no grease at all in there, definitely put a wee drop in. Might not recommend putting just as much as I put in, as I believe it could add a little drag and maybe zap your battery a bit, but I'm not worried about that. Seeing as it's a crawler, I just don't want things rusting up on me and seizing up. So for now, I'll go with packing it out with grease. The other bearing slightly smaller. And as usual, use my wee scalpel and be careful. Just pick out the rubber seals. They just pop in quite handy afterwards again. Bearing feels super smooth. I don't even think I need to blast that one out. I'll just pack a drop of grease. Simple as that. Pop the seals back on. That protect them from the a little bit of protection for the damp conditions, especially where we are here at the minute this time of year. Just pop it back in. That's one done. And for the next one, this one's slightly bigger. Again, feels perfect, but I just pack a drop of grease in it just to be sure. Seals pop out quite handy. Again, feels perfect. Let's get it jammed in there. I don't particularly want to have to strip all these out every time I come back in. That's why I'm opting for the grease option here. I do know that you can get bearing oils a bit lighter and stuff, but I'd imagine essentially after every run out you'd have to redo everything again, and I just don't fancy doing that. I like playing with the toys more than repairing them. Yeah, that's not strictly true. I do like doing this. It passes my time. I don't know what else I would do. It's all part of the hobby doing this, but I'd be lying if I didn't say it was better fun than out playing with them. And I shouldn't call them toys, they're scale models. Feeling good. That half shaft pull out should let this release enough to let me get at the bearings. Ta-da! That's out. Must remember, goes that way round.
I didn't tell you had a big moment. He's barking in there, can you get on the seat?
Why?
Because there's just bags on it.
These ones don't come sealed, and look at that. Can you see that, guys? Rock solid. That is not good. Oh, that will need a bit of a blast out, a clean. That's solid. I can't get that to budge. I'm glad I pulled that out. That's freed up rightly now. I'm glad I did not let that sit any longer before looking at them. Nice and free now. Pack them a grease, guys, get everything pulled apart. There's no rubber seals in these ones to hold the grease in, so spin this, work it round, get it pushed in there, packed in as tight as you can. Now this side was okay, look. Spinning free, no need to blast that out, but well, again, pack it full. It does say on the packaging that the electronics are waterproof, although I really don't think that dig servo is waterproof. I've had to do away with that for now until I can source a better servo. We really actually haven't used the dig at all when we're out. I just had it working both times before we took it out. Both times was a new servo, and by the time we come back in again it wasn't working, although as I say we hadn't used it at all. So I don't know how hot those wee tiny micro spectrum servos are, but they get a thumbs down in my book. They might be okay if you're just using them in dry conditions all the time, but certainly not for what we're doing. Oh man, I've forgotten what way I said that goes on. I'm smart. done, guys, now for the front. And then we'll hopefully go out. But it looks of the way the daylight's going here, could be a nighttime crawl. But we could be lucky and be blessed with the company of my wife Heather. Is that right, Heather? Heather? Wife? Guys, she is there. She's embarrassed to speak.
No, I'm not.
Give us a hell yeah!
No, I'm not.
Oh, we'll have Heather the Millie in the background.
You dare. Count off your thoughts.
Nah, be nice.
I'm Drew. Paul thought of going out in the cold.
Guys, I have the heating cranked up the max here in the house. We should be sweating and still want to go out. It's only well get her out of the house. See hubs off. It's the front one, it's dry as a bone as well. Totally sea solid, guys, look. Will not move. Since it started the move, it feels really rough. That was the worst one yet, and that was the front. There's literally no grease at all on any of the gears, any of the bearings. If I'd have known that right from I took it out of the box, I would have pulled it apart and went through it. I'd say, guys, that's quite possibly the advantages of building a kit rather than being ready to run. That's the sort of thing you can do as you go and build a kit.
Power steering. Mum.
And there you have her speaking on camera for the first time. Oh, that was a slap to the back of the head.
I knew it would grow in here.
What would?
Car stuff.
You put it in?
I know.
There you go.
But I had no choice.
You did?
Where was it going to go?
I'm back on the table.
Well, why didn't you put it back?
I don't know, I didn't put it there.
Did you forget about it?
Not forget about it, I didn't know where it was. Harley, no. No. small one feels locked up, the big one feels okay, and the pumpkin. That's the last two bearings in the whole thing. That's every single one has had any with rubber seals have been taken out, cleaned, greased, and put back in. But if you're watching this, guys, and you have got a new ready to run, I'd highly advise pulling it apart and going through all of your bearings beforehand. That's not too bad. It's good.